That brings us to number 2 out of only 10 things. Watch how easy this seems, and then we're going to get to the complicated stuff. This is the easy part. Second thing is we need to set some financial goals for ourselves. Now we know that we're totally upside down. We don't have a lot to show for anything. We have a negative net worth, and we need to work on it. So we want to set some goals for ourselves, and there are 3 requirements for something to be a meaningful goal. Number 1, it has to be something we can measure. It has to be quantifiable. We can't be nebulous and vague. We can't say we want to be rich, because being rich means different things to different people. If I told you that on my person at this point in time I have $100 trillion on me, then that is an absolutely true statement. I have $100 trillion. Now watch, people are going to come down here. I'm in trouble now. I have to watch it going to my car. I'm serious. I have $100 trillion. And the $100 trillion is from the country of Zimbabwe. And in Zimbabwe, $100 trillion won't buy you squat. $100 trillion sells on eBay for about $1.99, because that's what it's worth, and that's where we got this. $100 trillion. I mean, it makes no sense. This wouldn't buy you a loaf of bread in Zimbabwe. That's how screwed up their country is. We say we have 3.8% inflation here last year. They have millions of percent inflation. What cost $1 a year ago costs millions of dollars today. If that happened here in the United States, trust me, we'd all have torches and be marching toward Washington, as the people in Zimbabwe are right now, not real happy with their government. I always wanted to say I was a trillionaire, so I guess I can actually say this. Seriously, real stuff, scary stuff. So the first thing is it has to be measurable. The second requirement is it has to be achievable. Why would it have to be achievable? Why wouldn't we just set a lofty goal? That's definitely one reason. If you set something and you realize that you're not going to be able to achieve it, no way, no freaking way are you going to get there. Are you going to try as hard? You're not. And it's just human nature. It doesn't make you a bad person. You know, psychologists call it learned helplessness. The minute you know you can't possibly get to that goal, you kind of give up. Not totally maybe, but you're just kind of plodding along because I never should have set that goal. So we want to be a little lofty and reach, because we can probably reach higher goals than we're thinking. But if we set it too high and all we experience is failure, we're never going to have the fortitude to keep going. So it needs to be measurable, it needs to be achievable, and the third thing is it needs to have a time frame associated with it. So why is that? Well, I don't know. My goal is that I would like to have $1 million. Now, is that measurable? Absolutely. Is it achievable? If it's by next Thursday, probably not. If it's in my lifetime, absolutely, positively. If it's within some defined period and I have a plan to get there, absolutely. So we have to have a time frame. My goal is to have $5,000 in an investment account by the end of next year. Believe it or not, all of you could achieve that, regardless of your debts. You could all achieve a goal like that over a year's period of time. It wouldn't be easy. Wouldn't be a lot of lattes being consumed, or maybe a few less beers on the weekend, but you get the idea. We absolutely, positively could get there, and it's the power of compound interest that's going to help us achieve that, just like Albert Einstein said. The other thing that I think is extremely important, and I didn't tell you that my graduate degree is in psychology, believe it or not, not in finance, and I like to look at the psychology of money and why people do things that they do with their money. I'm reading a book now called Your Money and Your Brain. It says our brain tells us not to do stupid things with our money, but we still do it anyway because we're emotional, we have fear and greed and desire, and we want to get that flat panel, even though in the back of our mind, we're like, don't do it, but we still go buy it because we think we need it. Other people convince us that we need it. Advertisers convince us that we need it. Sometimes it's important to state the reason why it's important for us to get to our goal. If it's important to you because you wanted to be the first in your family to be a millionaire, and I just told you how easy it is. We don't think it's easy, but it's mathematically pretty easy if we get started early enough. Get started later, it's a lot harder. Then state that as your reason. If your reason is that you've been up to debt and never able to have any fun in your life because you're always worried about bill collectors, State that as a reason. I want to be able to tell the bill collector, screw you, I've paid everybody off now, leave me alone, and I'm never going to borrow money from you ever again. Put it right back on them because you got them paid off finally. What a great feeling is that. They even have mortgage burning parties. Sometimes we've paid off our mortgage. Now my wife and I can go and just put those documents in the fireplace. Say, see you, bank, don't need you anymore because now we don't owe anybody anything on our house. If that's your reason, then state it. The other thing I tell you to do is keep the goals visible. Keep a visible reminder of what it is. You know, there's a movie, forget the name of it, here it comes, Spy Games. And in Spy Games, Robert Redford, I think, was a CIA station chief. Brad Pitt was out in the field. And one of the things Robert Redford kept in his safe, as I recall, was a picture of some beachfront property that he had saved up to buy in retirement. And to him, that reminder, every time he looked in his safe in his office, he said, that's what I've been working my butt off for. That's where I'm going when I retire. Of course, unfortunately, the movie line, because we do movies here, was I'm going to have to give that up to bail Brad Pitt's butt out of trouble over on a mission we sent him. I'm going to have to give up all that and bribe somebody to spring him. We keep these visible reminders. This is true last, I want to exaggerate here, June or July, whenever gas prices passed the $4 mark and they went up to $4.10, I flipped out. I don't mean in the literal sense where my wife had to restrain me, but I came home from working here at Full Sail and I said, honey, I've had it. I said, I'm buying an electric car. So back in June of last year, I ordered one of these, and this is my motivation for making sure that I move ahead now, because in November, this bad boy is going to show up, and I better have the money to pay for it, or it's not the price of the car, it's the alimony that might kill me on this one, because it's coming, and it's on order, so we'll see. So if you look on my refrigerator, you're thinking I'm exaggerating. That's what's there, and it motivates me every day to really watch my money, because I know if I get to that goal, then when that electric car gets there, that I'm going to have the money to pay for it. And I emphasize, I better have it, or I might be in some trouble, I think, with the better half.